Just one game this week for the Badgers, a Tuesday night matchup in Columbus against the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll look back at some of the highlights from that game. We'll check in with Austin Rapp, who had a really good game the first time around against Ohio State, had a bad case of the flu, missed Indiana, and then came back with another really good performance in the Badgers' win in Champaign last week against Illinois. We'll hear from Aussie, and we'll have our weekly sit-down with head coach Gard. All coming up on this week's edition of the Badgers Sports Report.
Lloyd throwing to Rohde, high on the left. Rohde bounces to Blackwell, feeds Nolan Winter, left block, up right hand, good. Nolan Winter ties the game at 2. Rohde beats Carrington, open 3, right side. That clipped off the left side iron. Janicki, the offensive rebound, and the reverse layup going left to right. 24-15, Ohio State. 2-3 look, Blackwell out high, throws to Boyd, high on the right. So keeping Wisconsin tough shots from 3, and just as I say that, Blackwell gets loose, left corner, and he drills a triple. Now Blackwell throws to Nolan Winter. Left lane feeds Braden, open 3, right of the circle, good. Braden Carrington, his first 3 of the game, 43-31 Ohio State. Feeds Amari Bynum, left lane line against Bielyauskas. He lost his balance, threw it away into the hands of John Blackwell. Blackwell left of the circle. Taps the brakes, feeds Carrington, another 3 left side, and that's his 4th 3 of the second half. Here's Boyd. Stops, now goes again down the lane to the rim, layup, no, rebound, slam dunk. Hayden Jones, hello, young fella.
Hayden's played great. I mean, he's really brought some great energy.
Set the standard, let's go.
Nice bounce, Rapp. Rapp left lane line, out to Blackwell, snaps off a 3, right pocket, book it.
Scores! Badgers win it in overtime.
Wisconsin Badgers have won the Frozen Four Championship.
The Badgers advance to the Sweet 16. Off the backboard for 2 from Destiny Howell.
The Badger Sports Report is presented by UW Health and is brought to you by Hy-Vee and by Construction Business Group, by Gruber Law Offices, and by WEA Member Benefits.
Have you heard people say women's sports are having a moment?
It's not a moment.
Moments are fleeting. They come and they go.
This isn't just a moment.
But success is nothing new at Wisconsin.
History in Wisconsin.
There's a history here.
Age championship.
So let's celebrate women's sports for what it really is.
It's not a moment.
It's not a moment.
It's a movement.
And you're invited to come along for the ride.
UW Health, proud title sponsor of Badger Women's Sports.
Clear your path to a great career today. Climb to reach your career potential with no loans and no debt, so you can earn while you learn. A Wisconsin Operating Engineer's Apprenticeship is your opportunity to work outdoors and get heavy equipment experience. Partner with your employer for serious pay, great health and pension benefits. Acquire real-world experience while building Wisconsin together. To start your career journey, visit join139.com today.
It's the simplest expression. The smallest thing that changes everything. A smile. So easy. A smile lights it up. Apologizes. And welcomes unconditionally. Because the shortest distance between 2 people is a smile.
Thank you.
Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today, proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
Walters has 10 seconds here to make something happen.
Does the Wolverine have a moment in him? Oh, Ingham, the aggressor. He gets the extra, takes out at the end, and seals it. Wyatt Ingham, another big-time upset.
Whoever has the high hips in this position is going to win. Zargo kicks over.
Zargo wants, he's got 10 seconds to work.
He's in position to score. He just needs to hook that far leg.
Nothing there, nothing there. And he got it right at the horn. Joe Zargo, what a moment.
Meckler circling inbounds.
Luke Meckler was taken down in the first period, but he scrapped his way to sudden victory, and now in tiebreak, he has done it.
The crowd is fired up in the field house. The hometown kid, Luke Meckler, pulls off the top 15 ranked upset on senior night.
Badgers look to hold it in. Eden with it down to the corner of the right side. Fired it around. It goes to Benucio out on top. Shot tipped in! Eden with their 100th career goal. Oh, I love it. Lacey Eden tips it in, and that is number 100 for Lacey Eden on the tip-in goal, and the Badgers lead it 3-1. Fired it toward the goal. Moving it in. Shot the goal, Gorbatenko. Oh, man. Gorbatenko gets her second consecutive backhanded goal. A hat trick to boot, betcha. And her 21st goal of the year.
It's all the way out to the left point. Dubinsky fall away, redirect. Finley picks it up after it hit the crossbar and scores. Dubinsky out high left. His shot went off Finley, hit the crossbar, bounced back to Quinn, and he tucked it in. We're tied at 1. Now the Badgers have the puck. Siminoff with it. He'll shoot. He scores! Vasily Siminoff ripped it past Ivan Kovic. Taken by Moldenauer. Dangerous spot. Look out. Deering snapshot save made. Rebound. Piedler scores! Holy cow. The Michigan kid, Adam Piedla, beats Ivan Kovic between the pads. 3-1, Wisconsin. Sauced across intended for Robertson, stolen away by Horbach. Here comes the senior breakaway with an empty net. He'll score! And the Wisconsin Badgers will get a gigantic win over Michigan.
We believe in education. We believe in public schools. At WEA Member Benefits, we believe in helping Wisconsin public school employees and their families achieve their financial goals by providing personal insurance, retirement and investment, and financial planning programs that are designed specifically for the education community. Proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics, WEAbenefits.com.
Your animals depend on you every day. So we build equipment you can depend on every day. Equipment that powers through mud, dust, and extreme weather. So cutting hay, feeding livestock, and managing land is easier. Loaded with intuitive, innovative features and tech, Case IH equipment isn't just built to work. It's built to work for livestock producers. Case IH, built by farmers.
We do this pretty much every year, and we don't want to skip this year. And what I'm talking about is a little love to the guys who you might not see on the floor a whole lot, but they are very integral in the preparation game to game for the Wisconsin Badgers. Their role primarily is that of scout teamers, but some of the guys I list, you could see them in the rotation given the opponent in a certain game. Matter of fact, one of them who does a lot of work on the scout team has started the game, talking about Hayden Jones, as we visit with head coach Greg Gard. And we do this, and you guys have had a lot of extremely valuable players who may not log 30 minutes a game. It may be just a handful in selected games, but their importance to this, it really can't be overstated, can it?
Absolutely. It's instrumental. I mean, and specifically in this era of our short, limited roster size, I think our strength has always been our strength in numbers, and their ability to, the guys now are really wearing both hats because a lot of them have been back and forth in terms of the Badger side of the rotation a little bit, but I think it helps them learn the scout faster. I think it helps. It's immense with development. And then you've got several guys that, that's their primary role, scout team. And you have to have people that are really bought into it, understand it, embrace it. Because if you're in that role and think you shouldn't be in that role or view that role as unimportant, then it's never going to be a good fit. But the guys we've had in it over the years have been terrific, and obviously this year's crew is right in line with that.
You think of guys through the years, if it's Brett Valentine, Dan Fahey, Tanner Bronson, who's a coach now,
Right.
and it has been for quite a while. And this year, your son Isaac, obviously very important. Jack Robinson, Ricardo Greppi. Each brings something to the table. Your son can shoot it, and we've seen that a lot. Jack Robinson can do various things, and Ricardo, he's a big dude, and who has good court vision. So they really do help with the scouts day in and day out.
They do, because they all fill a different role. Obviously, Ricardo plays, typically the opposing big guy, and does a really good job of it. Jack has been able to play in a variety of roles, whether it's a stretch 4 or a bigger 3, and do some different things. And obviously Isaac, that's been extremely special for me, and I know it is. I think it is for him. But yeah, his development has been phenomenal. I've been even amazed with how much better he's gotten as a player, and he does play that sniper on the scout team, so to speak, and he definitely can. He must have some of his mom's shooting genetics in it, because he has really developed into a pretty prolific shooter.
Well, it's interesting because talking with Isaac back at a preseason function, he's gotten stronger. The release is quicker. These guys develop. Jack Robinson, he's still fairly young in the program here, and the eagerness with which they get scouting reports, and there are certain opponents where they can just let it rip, too, so they do have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, scout team comes relatively pressure-free, stress-free. You don't have to worry about the head coach barking at you about your shot selection or turnovers or those things. But no, it has been fun. And Isaac, for example, he's known it since the day he was born. I mean, he's been in this gym more than most. So he's grown up with it. Obviously, been around all of it over the years, and he embraces that role. He understands that role and understands how important that is to help the overall good of the team.
Every year I see it, and I've seen it this year as well, where you get in full court situations, and there's a point in practice where you're going to say, put 60 on the clock because of the scout, which. I mean, obviously you don't. I mean, you want to see your rotation guys clicking, but at the same time, is there a part of you saying, hey, these other guys are really doing their job here today?
Yeah, you typically, if it's the accountability that comes with every day, and I think that's what helps make us so consistent day in and day out, week in and year out, is that there is that accountability. And if the scout team, goes over a point per possession, well, then there's accountability that day for those that were trying to guard them, and then we'll try again.
The thing too, we talk a lot about the core of this team, and numerically, it's not as big this year as in the past. Those in my world will always talk about Blackwell, Winter, Janicki to a certain extent. But it doesn't stop there. Isaac's been in the program a long time. He knows guys, I'm sure, lean on him. Jack Robinson as well. I mean, Greppi, even though they're still fairly young in the program, they know the drill. So that value, beyond the X's and O's on the floor, that's pretty important.
Well, they keep your culture intact. I think that's the one thing that, specifically, obviously we use Isaac as an example, but he's been around it forever. He knows every name of the past you can, since 2003 when he was born. Yeah. I mean, he can name them. And I got video of him doing it when he was like 4 years old, rattling off lineups and pretending he was whoever. But no, it's really important to have those guys that really understand the core of your program, because in the transit nature that we're in, Matt, you want to make sure you maintain and sustain and continue to build your culture, and those type of people are vital to make sure that happens.
Yeah, really important guys both on and off the floor for this Wisconsin basketball team. We'll take a break. More to come as we continue with the Badgers Sports Report.
Have you heard people say women's sports are having a moment?
It's not a moment.
Moments are fleeting. They come and they go.
This isn't just a moment.
But success is nothing new at Wisconsin.
History in Wisconsin.
There's a history here.
8 championships.
So let's celebrate women's sports for what it really is.
It's not a moment.
It's not a moment.
It's a movement.
And you're invited to come along for the ride.
UW Health, proud title sponsor of Badger Women's Sports.
Clear your path to a great career today. Climb to reach your career potential with no loans and no debt, so you can earn while you learn. A Wisconsin Operating Engineer's Apprenticeship is your opportunity to work outdoors and get heavy equipment experience. Partner with your employer for serious pay, great health and pension benefits. Acquire real-world experience while building Wisconsin together. To start your career journey, visit join139.com today.
Well, in the course of a season, players get bumps and bruises. They can also get sick. All these things they have to fight through. And talking to a guy who has fought through all of that and then some, Austin Rapp, as we circle back, talked to you a few weeks ago. We don't need to go into the details of we knew you were sick. We knew you had the flu. Lost about 10 pounds. What was that like for you just getting back on the practice floor a couple of days leading up to the Illinois game?
Yeah, so I came in Sunday just for a kind of a light practice, and I hadn't eaten much. Like I had my first meal was on Sunday, and I ate 4 pieces of toast and a bowl of rice before that. So down 10 pounds, and so that first day of practice was Sunday, and we went light because obviously played Indiana Saturday, and we had vitamins, which is like the first thing we do in practice, and I was tired after about 5 minutes of that, which is normally that's the warm up normally. So I was gassed, and obviously that's part of coming back from something like being like that, and obviously I don't wish that sickness upon anyone. It was tough. You know, I've got a few IVs and stuff to try and get to Indiana, but obviously didn't happen. And then Monday, got up and down a bit. Obviously, again, like not much energy and having a bunch of fluids and just to trying to keep my body going. And the 31 minutes, I probably wasn't expecting to play that much just because my first game back, but they needed me and I was happy to be out there, and I'd leave everything on the court, and ended up cramping. Which is part of the coming back from the flu, but again, we got the win, and that's all that really.
We should probably have you describe vitamins. This isn't like vitamin C pills or something like that, but this is it's pretty up-tempo way to get yourself ready for practice.
Yeah,
right?
So every practice we do a segment of about mostly 6 minutes of vitamins, which is bigs and smalls. So we separate and go into 2 halves, and Steesmer and Crab go with the bigs, and then Reef, Brad, and Coach Rand will go with the guards, and we get touch work, we get shooting, we sometimes play a bit of one-on-one just to kind of get warm and get a little touch of what game shots we're going to get and what we're going to do for other games, and we get game-like shots and game-like finishes, so it's good.
So before and after the flu bug, you've been on a pretty good little roll here, the Ohio State game and then obviously the game against Illinois. I'll get to the shooting, but I think what's been really fun is what you've been doing defensively. You're getting rebounds, you're forcing turnovers. Tell us about how you feel you're progressing at the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to just realize, I've got a 7'2" wingspan, so I kind of give guys more space, and I feel like I've done a really good job of, getting better at moving my feet. Schneider's been working with me, and I get in extra weight room sessions just so I can continue to develop. At the start of the year, obviously my body's still shaping to be a pro, and I feel like defensively I was never bad, but I was kind of a step behind a little bit, and now I feel like I can really get up and pressure dudes and be physical. I think being physical is the most important thing. I'm a big dude, and I feel like I can be physical with guys and keep dudes in front of me, so I'm just trying to do the best I can for this team, and I feel like I'm starting to be a decent defender out there and keep guys in front of me and get deflections and get blocks and get steals for this team.
This is, and I asked this with any number of guys, I may have brought it up with you the first time we talked when you're new to the program, the different rules, the different ways that you cover, if it's ball screen coverage, that type of thing. It probably takes a while to not think, just do it. Is that fair?
100%. At the start you're kind of in your 2 minds about it. You don't want to stuff it up, so you're trying to get it perfectly right. And now it's kind of like, it's second nature. I've been doing it for however long now, and with this team, and when we go into certain coverages, I'm this instead of well, what are we in, and kind of looking around and seeing what we're in, and so now it's all natural. The switches. If the guard steps in in front of the 3-point line, you call that switch, and I think communication is a big part of it. Being able to talk to my teammates and trust my teammates is also a big part of that defensive side of things.
So let's get to the shooting. That was certainly part of your rep, what you did at Portland last year, and prior to that, obviously, but playing in U.S. colleges. when you knock down the first one, the first couple, is that like a huge difference? Like, okay, let's go. The Ohio State game is certainly seen that way.
Well, the Ohio State game was one of those games where the first one went in. I knew it felt good in warm-ups. Made my next 4, I think. So kind of got off to a slower start. I think I was one of 4 to start. But again, my teammates do a good job of just making sure like they get to me and say like, let it fly. Coaches, let it fly. So, Nick and JB draw so much attention, I'm ready to shoot. So, I know I'm capable of making shots. The coaches know I'm capable of making shots. I made 3 straight in the clutch, and we ended up coming out with a win against the number 8th ranked team in the country on the road, which is special.
Yeah, you mentioned those clutch shots. There's a lot of guys on this team that seem to have a clutch gene. You mentioned 2 of them with JB and with John Blackwell and Nick, and obviously Nolan can. So you're down 2. It's in the last minute of regulation, and you bang the 3. Is it probably not a ton of time to think about? Like what's on the line here? Just you see it, it's open, let it go.
Yeah. So when I won, I think it was a minute left when I hit the one to go at 1. Yep. I was like, because we were down 10, and I kind of looked up. I'm like, wow, like we're gonna win this game. Like I was kind of thinking to myself, like this is ours to lose now. So I think we fouled Wogler, and he made 1. Funny enough, we were speaking in film today. I actually thought we were down 1. So JB missed the shot, and I was like about to foul, and I hear people like yelling. I'm like, oh, and then I looked up. I'm like, thank God I didn't do any of that. But and then we got into overtime, and I kind of felt like our tables were turning a little bit, and we were rolling a little bit, and I feel like we would run away with it in overtime.
It seemed like earlier in the year, Austin, most games were 10, 15, 20-point games. There weren't a lot of dramatic endings, and now it seems like that's all you guys are having.
Yeah.
And you've won more than not. When you go through those kind of games, is it like, okay, as a player, maybe you don't have time to get too nervous anyway, but you know the drill. You know how precious every possession is. You guys have had a lot of experience in these down-the-wire games.
Well, now that, we've probably had about 4 or 5 games, maybe 6, that have come down to the wire. Even, we've had 2 that haven't gone our way, Indiana and USC. But again, they came down to the wire, and I feel like we have a lot of experience. We have guys that aren't scared at the moment, and we'll happily take the last shot. And we have guys that trust each other, and we come together in those last moments, and we communicate, and we do the right things. And, as you said before, we've won more than we've lost, and I think that's a really... a lot of teams, it's very detrimental that you can close games out. A lot of teams can't, and it's tough, especially on the road, to close out those close games, and we were able to do it, and now we've shown we can do it at number 2 in the country and number 8 in the country. So
that's the thing. Your final thought, kind of pick up on what you just said. You know that in the season everybody's going to have up and downs, but you guys, I would imagine, your best is as good as anybody in the country. I mean, every win is obviously important, all the cliches, but when you do what you just said, going to Michigan, going to Illinois, thinking, hey, almost like, why not us? You got a shot to do something pretty special.
No, 100%. I mean, I think we could beat anyone in the country any given day, and I think Coach says a lot. He always says, he's excited for what we can be and not what we are right now, and I still think there's a little bit more room for us to improve. Obviously, we've shown what we can do. When we're guarding and our offense is looking like it was, there's no roof on for what we've got to prove, and I think the sky's the limit for us this year.
All right, he's Austin Rapp, healthy and hitting shots and making plays defensively. We'll take a break. More to come as we continue with the Badgers Sports Report.
It's the simplest expression. The smallest thing that changes everything. A smile. So easy. A smile lights it up. Apologizes. And welcomes unconditionally. Because the shortest distance between 2 people is a smile.
Thank you.
Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
The Badger Sports Report is presented by UW Health and is brought to you by Hy-Vee. And by Construction Business Group. By Gruber Law Offices. And by WEA Member Benefits.
The clock is ticking on home games for the Badgers after the Sunday afternoon matchup against Iowa. Only one more game remains at the Kohl Center. That's next week against Maryland. First things first, though, the Badgers head up to the Pacific Northwest. Little late night with Wisconsin basketball. Wednesday in Eugene. A 10 o'clock tip, Central Time, Wednesday night, the Badgers and the Oregon Ducks, followed by a Saturday afternoon matchup in Seattle against the Washington Huskies. That game begins at 3 o'clock Central Time. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for watching.
We believe in education. We believe in public schools. At WEA Member Benefits, we believe in helping Wisconsin public school employees and their families achieve their financial goals by providing personal insurance, retirement and investment, and financial planning programs that are designed specifically for the education community. Proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics, WEAbenefits.com.
Every farmer wants to up their uptime, so we purposefully designed our tractors and implements to keep you in the field. Tailored for your operation, Case IH tractors are intuitive to use, easy to maintain, packed with the latest tech, and backed by dealer support you can trust. Because Case IH equipment isn't just built to work, it's built to work for you. Case IH, built by farmers.
Have you heard people say women's sports are having a moment?
It's not a moment.
Moments are fleeting. They come and they go.
This isn't just a moment.
But success is nothing new at Wisconsin.
History in Wisconsin.
There's a history here.
Age championship.
So let's celebrate women's sports for what it really is.
It's not a moment.
It's not a moment.
It's a movement.
And you're invited to come along for the ride.
UW Health, proud title sponsor of Badger Women's Sports.